Yo, what's up guys, Ben on Fire here, back with another video, and today we're going to be hopping into the best coaching adjustments in Madden 22 in my opinion. Now, we're going to be hopping into not an online game, but just a play now game. The reason being is you can't see coaching adjustments in practice mode, so that's your biggest reason, but we just turned the play clock off, so we have as much time as we want now going through these coaching adjustments. We got a couple of interesting ones. We're going to go through each one and kind of show what it does correspondingly on the field. And we want to start out with auto flip on. Now, I'm going to kind of teach these as if you don't know them. Of course, depending on which one you want to learn, you can skip through. But we're going to start out with auto flip. I personally am an auto flip on guy. I feel like most case scenarios you would want to run auto flip on. Now, there's a couple of situations where you might want it off, and we'll go through those. But for auto flip on situations, you have it on. What are the best formations to have auto flip on? It's going to be these 3-3-5s, any nickel formation. It's going to be really good to have auto flip on. If you are running something like a dime 2-3-6, this might be a situation where you want it actually off. Let's say you want in this cover one on that right hand side, let's say you want your 3 receiver hook on the left side and you want your user on the right side. You're going to use the linebacker that's blitzing. You're going to want auto flip off so that you can do that. If it's on, it's going to flip depending on the side of the bunch, which generally most people will not like. So if you are running these dime 2-3-6, you can have auto flip on if you want, if it doesn't matter to you. But I definitely know some guys that will like to keep it off. So and especially for things like blitzes, like the edge blitz, 3 blitz, I usually like to blitz off that right side with this play. So I'm going to have auto flip off generally for that because I want to have the same blitz setup. If you have auto flip on and he flips his play or whatever the case may be, that's a situation where you might set up the blitz as if he's getting off the right side, and then you look at your player and you're like, oh crap, he's actually blitzing off the left side. So symmetrical formations like this, we're going to run auto flip off. For something like nickel, we're going to run auto flip on. So we have auto flip on, and of course you cannot flip the play with that, so I'm pressing RT to flip the play. It will not let you. And we're just going to call something like nickel blitz 2. You see the slot corner blitzing off that left side. If we were to hop into a offensive formation like a gun bunch here, we'll just run a normal play verticals. You would notice that when we run nickel 2, we call it. Now what happens, we have our cornerback flipped on that right side, and again, your guy is going to be Sutton right here that you're looking at. So auto flip is pretty much going to do that. If they flip, you still do have to flip, especially if you make adjustments or you click onto the player, so keep that in mind. Even if you have auto flip on, generally I think you still do have to flip. But yeah, that's pretty much what auto flip's going to do. Again, out of big dime, usually I'm going to leave it off. If I'm in any nickel formation, usually I'm going to leave it on. So pretty simple stuff right there. Let's just throw a quick lays with the Lions. So that's going to be your first defensive adjustment. Now going into some other defensive adjustments, the next one you see is going to be your auto alignment. Now this is going to depend on the play that you're using. I'm going to show a couple of different ones, and we're going to start out with a base align. Now if you don't know what base align is, I will go into the play, base aligned, and then I'll baseline again, which will take me out of it and cancel it. So if you are auto-aligned in base, if you base align once you go into your adjustments, that will take that away and bring you into the normal alignment. Now pretty much what base aligning is take a look at your play art. Linebackers are going to be compressed in this set on the play art, and they're going to be that way on the field if you have your auto-alignment set to base. If you do not, the placement of all of your players will depend on the offensive formation, but pretty much if you have baseline on, they will just look the exact same every single play, whether they're in trips, 5 wide, or bunch. But if they were in bunch and you had no baseline, let's just say no baseline, they come out in bunch, your guys should still be compressed because it's a compressed offensive set. But if they were to go to something like 5 wide, then you would notice that your linebackers are going to be further out, which some people like. Usually I'm just going to leave baseline on auto, but there are situations with different blitzes and things where manning a line can actually help. But let's show what a baseline looks. And we're going to go into the trips tight end formation for this. So run trips tight end. We'll call nickel blitz 2. And you notice this is what a baseline looks like. Now, if I cancel the baseline by just simply base aligning when I'm actually in the play adjustments, you notice that what happens is the slot corner is going to move around. this linebacker is going to move a little bit further off the ball. And if we baseline again, these guys are going to move back inside. And you notice that the cornerbacks are going to move back into the same positions that they were in. Now, the linebacker, Joe Schobert, did not really move because we had to click onto him because for some reason he ran to the line of scrimmage. But you see the difference. This is baseline. This is not baselined. And again, it just depends on what you want your players looking at. For example, bunch might also help. If we go to bunch, we're going to flip as well. But this is what a baseline looks like out of bunch. And, or this is the baseline out of bunch. If you cancel it, go to a normal alignment, this is what it looks like. So you can see how they change depending on the formation. And if you hear people say baseline press, that is what this looks like. Baseline press, it's going to create a straight alignment across the formation. But if you were to cancel the baseline and press, that's where you get this kind of look where you disguise your coverage as almost man coverage. So I know I'm saying baseline a lot. It might be a little bit confusing for you guys, but for things like running the ball, baseline press is usually pretty good. And then you can do things like, I don't know, something like this. I don't know, disguise your coverage like this, bluff blitz this guy. Just do different things pretty much. But yeah, man, baselining usually is a good idea. And a lot of times in my videos, I do tell you whether to baseline or not. If I ever say for a certain setup base align, that is where you can go into your coaching adjustments and set this auto alignment to base. Now, man align is a different story. For example, if we run a cover 3 sky man aligned against trips tight end, what happens is you notice how we now have 3 slot corners on the left side. In normal nickel coverage, you will have your normal 2 corners on the left, your 1 corner on the right. Now that we are man aligned, you see it's going to change the coverage a lot. So sometimes this can be good, sometimes it will not pay off. You notice weird things happen where Joe Hayden now is playing in middle third. Our free safety, Minka Fitzpatrick's now in a hook curl. And my normal user using a hook curl is now in a curl flat. If we man align again, you see it's going to reset the play art back to what it normally was. So again, man aligned, it's going to move this guy over. And again, to explain what man aligning is, it's going to give the impression that you are running man coverage. So if you man align and press, it looks like you're running man coverage pretty much. So if I'm on offense, and you can create some cooler things out of it. Probably what I'm doing here is I'm going to put Minka in the inside third. And I'm just going to put Joe Hayden here in a vertical hook. And then I'm probably just going to use Joe Schobert. So this can be a good way to disguise your cover 3 as man coverage. I know some guys like to do it. Generally, people will just leave that man align adjustment alone. It's not too popular of an adjustment, so a lot of times people will leave that be, but that is what the man align adjustment does. And those are the only 2, man, default, or base. I'm usually going to leave it on default just for me. So next we got ball and air defense. This one's kind of simple. You have 3 adjustments: play receiver, play the ball, and swat the ball. This is going to be your AIs. I know a lot of you guys are probably clicking on anyways, so this shouldn't have too much of an effect on the field. But if you are not clicking on, you want your players to play the ball, this is going to give you the best chance to intercept the ball. Although players catching the ball, intercepting defensively in this game is low anyway. Playing the ball does help. It's not going to really make that huge of a difference, but it can make a slight difference. And it will just allow your corners to go for the ball. Let's say it's a jump ball, your opponent throws in triple coverage, you click on one of the corners, you try to go for the interception, he doesn't, but then you notice like your computer-controlled player is going to like aggressive catch interception. That is what this adjustment will do for you. I like to leave this on play ball. Moving on, we got cornerback adjustments. These are very interesting, and you can definitely tell when people use these adjustments. I will leave this on balance personally, but you actually have some interesting ones by speed, by height, and by route running, depth chart, overall. Probably the best one, most useful one would be speed if you were to use it, but I think something odd happens, and we're going to try this out here. Let's say we go to by speed, and then we go to something like this. We're going to go to a man coverage look. We're going to press, and again, this is what I mean. The cover 3 man align looks exactly like our cover 2 man coverage, but I believe when we filter by speed, if I were to like go ahead and motion some of these players over, sometimes you notice some weird stuff happens. I'm not sure how to explain it, but sometimes you see just different things happening. It's kind of difficult to understand, but you do see some different things happening occasionally with that. Generally, it's interesting. You actually could do it. If you're running a heavy man coverage scheme, you actually could. But I'm going to leave it on balance. Most of your corners should be fast anyway, to where you don't have to do that. If you only have one good corner, you're in trouble anyway in this game. But I'm going to leave it on balance because that's what I like to do. Next up, we got option defense. We're going to go conservative on this. This is going to allow for read option situations for your defense to play the quarterback. If you're going up against Lamar Jackson, this is super helpful to have. And let's actually go to concept read option just to show you guys what it looks like. Is there any? There's just no read options in this playbook, huh? Maybe we have to go. Is there anything else? I'm shocked that there's no quarterback read option. Maybe in here. I don't know. It would make sense that it would be in the option, but I guess we don't have one. Maybe we can run this RPO and kind of get away with it. Option. And again, yeah, no. So we're going to try and run these RPOs, keep it with the quarterback. I'm not sure how it will play, but we'll just kind of try it out here. And see, we're going to keep it with Goff, and I guess we can't. So I wish there was a read option. Maybe since we switched teams over, the Steelers actually have a read option. So we'll see if that is the case. And again, these will flip. So we're just going to quickly move our face cam. Boom. Let's just move it over here because we're not in offense yet. But we're going to go on with the quarterback. We're going to go base the line. We're going to go play ball. And then we're on option defense. I like conservative. Let's see if the Steelers have a read option. Hopefully they do. And there we go. Big Ben on the option. So we're going to call that with Big Ben. And take a look. We're on option defense conservative once again here. We're going to keep it with Big Ben Roethlisberger. And you will see that this guy on the right side should stay there. He stays there. Boom. Lamar Jackson's going nowhere. So if you're going up against someone running the football, that's a good adjustment to have on. If they have someone super slow like a Dan Marino, you can actually set that to, what's it called? You can set that to simply aggressive, actually, which aggressive will leave the quarterback open every single time. Let's show what that kind of looks like. So now you will see Big Ben's going to be left wide open, but we're going to hand the ball off, and you should see that it's going to be pretty much backed. So it definitely will help in this aspect. So we're going to hand it off, and now you see Trey Flowers was getting off that edge. He didn't make the play, but you notice how he chased after the quarterback or the running back, and it would be like that every single time. So I think we're into the quarter here, which, again, we have no play clock, so it runs the whole time that I'm talking and that the play is down in bounds. But, again, I'm usually going to leave it on conservative just because you don't see too many read options. This could be important if you're playing like a pistol player, but we're going to leave it on conservative. Now you get into strip ball and tackling. I'm going to leave these on balanced. Conservative, it doesn't really even give you an there's our explanation, but conservative for strip ball is going to give you lower break tackle chances in the A while not attempt to strip. You can leave this on. I've tried these out. They don't ever make a difference. And most of you guys should be clicking on tapping X to tackle anyways. So I'm a balanced guy. For these, you see AI defenders will tackle conservatively. That's all good. Increased chances of allowing yards after contact. We don't want that because that... So if you were going to leave one on conservative, I would go strip ball. Tackling on conservative is not going to be good because your running back's going to carry you 10 yards down the field. Aggressive, broken tackles, more fake outs, not good. Leave it on balance for this. Again, you could go strip ball conservative if you want. Strip ball aggressive. The AI is going to do that, but you can also get broken tackles and face masks, which are never fun. Last but not least, we got our zone drops. Zone drops are going to be really, really important for you. And most of the times, you're going to, in my videos at least, where I'm using zone drops, I'm going to let you know what the zone drops are will be. So let's say we run a play where curl flats are on 20, flats are on 5, and hooks are on 0. So just so you can see what each zone looks like, I'm going to call a normal cover 3. We have curl flats on 20, flats on 5, and hooks on 0. So we're just going to throw this guy in a hard flat, and then we're going to put A in a curl flat. So Here's our coverage. The right side, you will notice he's going to go back 20 yards, and I'll show the replay after this, but the left side, he's at 5 yards. He's going to play at the 5-yard mark, and then these hook curls are going to play at 0. So we're going to go ahead, snap the ball, and look at that. Everyone playing underneath, you throw it there. Should be an interception if you were to click on. You can see how bad the AI is in this game, though. So we're just going to call a timeout so the clock doesn't bleed on us, but let's go to the replay booth and kind of show you what I was talking about right there. And we're going to start out with our curl flat over here. We have the curl flat, 20 yards. You notice he's going to run right to 20 yards, stay there. So if you run those zones on default, that's where they're going to move around. They're going to start at 5 yards, go up to 20 yards, go back down. Sometimes you do want to leave them on default. But again, if someone's killing you with corner routes, crossing routes, that's where you set your zone drop super deep. You're not going to beat me over the top. You can check it down, though. Here we got our 5-yard hard flat, our 5-yard flat. In the flats are soft squats, cloud flats, hard flats, all of those zones. The curl flats are going to be things like seam flats, quarter flats, and curl flats, if I'm not mistaken. But you see, he's just going to sit around 5 yards, so if for some reason your hard flats aren't playing too deep, set him to like 5 yards, and he's going to make a play on that ball. And then last but not least, we got our hook curls, which actually can be pretty useful. I know a lot of you guys struggle with that running back route out of verticals where he's running right about here. You set your hooks to about 5 yards. He's going to sit there in a perfect position right at that 0-yard mark, and he's actually going to be able to make a play on that ball. So can definitely be a useful adjustment right there. And very important if you're running match coverage to, and actually it shows us here. So curl flats are going to be curl flat, quarter flat, and seam flat, which is what I said. Flats are going to be hard, cloud, and soft squats. So I did get that right. Let's show a play where we got them on default. I'm just going to go to a cover 3 normal. Let's actually I'm going to create a cover 3 cloud just so you can see how all these things play. I'm going to try and pick up a first down here. Let's just go to the gun bunch formation, but just to show you what everything kind of looks like. So I'm going to create a cover 3 cloud over here as I'm in the wrong controller, but we're going to cover 3 cloud just like this. Cloud flat over there, curl flat over there, and we have our hook curls playing normal. So we're just going to go ahead, snap the ball, and you notice curl flats are going to play default. We're just going to complete it, but I'm just going to show you kind of what the zones do in this case.
Come on now,
let's go to the replay booth once again, and let's start out with our cloud flat. And you see the cloud flat, he's going to move around. He starts out actually running deep, comes back down a little bit. If there was a little running back route, he would move down even further, which I should have maybe done. But here's our curl flat. You see he's not going to go to his particular spot. He's going to play based on how the routes are developed. So default can be good, but if you're getting beat deep by a really good player, that's where you actually want to set your zone drops. And of course the hook curls kind of moving around there, doing their jobs, but that is pretty much going to do it for defense. Not much else to talk about with that. And let's move into the offense real quick. In offense, there's not too much to talk about. Taking a look at your offense, you got things like deep pass catching, intermediate pass catching, blocking, and ball carrier. I'm going to go through 2, blocking and ball carrier. These I've never really messed with. It says AI receivers will attempt a possession catch. You should be clicking on your receivers anyway. So again, same stuff, pretty much. Yeah, and again, none of these. You don't want to give yourself worse run after the catch. Just weird stuff. So leave those at default. I've never really messed around with those, and I never ever intend to. Maybe if some of you guys have, you can let us know what they do if they actually help. But I'm not going to try it out myself. Start out with ball carrier. You have ball carrier conservative. If you're up by 10 points in the fourth quarter with the football, you're going to go on ball carrier conservative. I don't care if you can't juke or spin. You're going to protect the football. This will more or less prevent you from fumbling unless you're like celebrating with your quarterback or something weird. Aggressive. There are situations where you're going to go aggressive, and I will kind of demonstrate that once we get to the goal line. And then blocking, you're going to leave it unbalanced unless you're in the goal line, so we'll show you that. But if you're on conservative, what you can't do, kind of interesting enough, is you actually can't do any of these spin moves. You can't. I actually don't think you can even give yourself up on conservative. I might be wrong about that, but we'll try it out here. Again, you can't spin. I'm tapping B, can't spin. I'm tapping X, you can't dive either, so you can't even give yourself up, which is fine because on conservative you're not going to fumble. You don't really need to give yourself up, but it is something that you might want to know. Now, let's say we're at the 5-yard line, and again, I wouldn't go on aggressive unless I'm at like the 1-yard line. What I like to do at the 1-yard line is go on aggressive blocking and aggressive ball carrier. Now, there's always a slight chance that you're going to get a holding call on aggressive blocking, but the payout is going to be usually a lot higher. And we're just in a bad defense here, but you're going to see the blocks should develop pretty good. Najee Harris is going to do some nice things, break some tackles, fall forward, as that didn't work out very well. Steelers' offensive line is going to Steelers' offensive line, I suppose, but let's get into like a goal line and pretend that we're at kind of the 1 yard line here. We need to pick up 1 yard. We're going to fullback dive. We're on aggressive blocking. We're on aggressive ball carrier. You can do your little flip cheese, flip the run, snap the ball, and boom, he's going to fall forward. We get really good blocks there. Normally, the center will disengage there with the D tackle. In our case, he blocked him, and we were able to pick up our 3 yards. And you can also do this for 4th and 1 situations. Now, again, you do want to be a little bit careful. Maybe your best bet on 4th and 1, not from the goal line, but from midfield, if you're going to run fullback dive, is to go on conservative blocking or balanced blocking and aggressive ball carrier. Because, again, you're picking up 1 yard. There's not a high chance you're going to fumble anyway. But you could get a holding call, and it could cost you. But look at the blocks right there. Just really, really good. Pushing them up the field. That's goal line. You would expect one guy to get free. He actually doesn't. So that's kind of all for offense. Not many coaching adjustments. I'd like to see more in the future, but, I mean, they can't really do much other than that. But that's going to do it for the video. If you guys enjoyed, drop a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel down below. And peace. I'm out of here.